Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we'll be discussing about Shiva's cosmic dance, exploring the universe through science and spirituality. Join us hosts, that is me and Pandit Mahesh Shastriji, with special guest Radhakrishna Warrior as we delve into the enigmatic world of Lord Shiva's Nataraja, the cosmic dance of the universe, and its profound connection with CERN's Large Hadron Collider and Big Bang. With the guest speaker Radhakrishna Warrier, prepare to unravel the mysteries of the existence and intricate interplay between science and spirituality. In this captivating podcast, I, Mahesh ji, and Radhakrishna ji will take the listeners on a journey through the depths of Hindu religion, scientific exploration, and philosophical inquiry, drawing parallels between the timeless symbolism of Lord Shiva's Nataraja, the ancient concept of creation and destruction, and the cutting edge discoveries of modern physics. They illuminate and interconnectedness of all these things. Through engaging discussions, insightful anecdotes, and thought provoking analysis, we'll explore how the cosmic dance mirrors the movements of particles in the universe, shedding light on fundamental forces that shape our reality. Whether you're a science enthusiast, a spiritual seeker, or simply curious about the mysteries of existence, Shiva's cosmic dance offers a unique perspective that bridges the gap between ancient wisdom and contemporary understanding. Tune in to discover the harmony between the microcosm and macrocosm and the eternal rhythm that binds us all. All right, let's first invite Radhakrishna ji. So, Radhakrishna Warrior is an engineer by profession and is deeply interested in non engineering subjects such as ancient science, modern science, history, linguistics, astronomy, and anthropology as related to Bharat. Originally from Kerala, India, Radhakrishna ji obtained his bachelor's degree in electronics and communication engineering half a century ago, and immediately afterwards joined the Indian Space Research Organization, which is also known as ISRO, as a young engineer. After working in ISRO for 21 years in the field of radio frequency and microwave communication as related to satellites and launch vehicles, he continued his career abroad. And after working many years in Canada in the same radio frequency and microwave communication field in different companies and in different cities of Canada, he came to the US about 9 years ago. He has been living here with his wife in the city of Renton for the past few years and has been working at Meteorocom in Renton in the field of radio frequency and microwave communication for positive train control. His son, daughter in law, and two young grandsons live in Halifax in Canada. Let's invite him. Hello, Radhakrishna ji.
Namaskar.
All right. And now let's also invite our very dear Pandit Mahesh Shastriji, who is Panchang Siddhanti of mypanchang.com and prepares Panchangam calendars of 90% temples in the United States.
Pranam. Radhe Radhe. Namaskar.
Ji. So today we are continuing talking about Shiva. As I said before, no matter how much we talk, I think the time is always gonna fall short for us. So today we have invited Radhakrishna ji, and I wanted to kick off this conversation by asking Radhakrishna ji, what exactly is this picture that we are seeing here?
This is actually the Nataraja at CERN, CERN.
Okay.
CERN, CERN is the largest physics laboratory in the world, and it's in Bern, Switzerland.
Mhm.
CERN, it's a French, it's an acronym for a French term, and its English equivalent is European Council for Nuclear Research.
Very interesting. So, how come there is Nataraja at CERN, which is in Switzerland, and it's a physics laboratory? So, how come there is a Nataraja Murti there?
Oh, that's interesting. See, actually, CERN has scientists from many different places and a big contingent of Indian scientists there.
Mhm.
And they have very good relation with India.
Mhm.
So the government of India in 2004 gifted this beautiful icon of Nataraja. It's about 2 meters tall, and they installed it prominently in their campus, and it stands as the metaphor of the dance of metaphor of the cosmic dance
Mhm.
of particles and of Shiva, both.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll talk a lot more about that today. Pandit Mahesh Shastriji, I had a question for you as well. So we have discussed it in the past, but for our viewers who are going to join us today, especially for this one, can you explain why Shiva is called Nataraja?
This is very good. This is very good question. Radhe Radhe Pranam. Why I call Radhe Radhe? Because there is a simple thing. Because everybody is asking me. So my soul is Shiva. Okay, Shivoham, Shivoham, but I worship Lord Krishna. And Hari Haryo Vedam Nasti. At Adhyatmic level, there is no difference between Shiva and Krishna.
Mhm.
So to come back, why Lord Shiva is called Nataraja? So my guru taught me, Shiva has lot of hair in his on his head, right? So each hair represents the branch of knowledge.
As usual.
Okay, each hair represents the branch of knowledge. He also gave the this knowledge of dance to sage Bharata, and Bharata made it Bharatnatyam, and that is one of the thing. The second thing is he started the cosmic dance, the for the destruction and creation of the universe,
Mhm.
because to create you need to you need to change it, right? Change of the universe requires the destruction, right? It's like we are going somewhere and then somebody is telling us, I'm going to change your face. That means he's going to slap us with literally. So that changing is unless he's a doctor, and doing the plastic surgery likewise. So the change of universe the requires the plastic surgery, but that is also a bit destructive, right?
Mhm.
So and then he creates the newer one. So that cosmic dance that he does, so that's what we are going to do. We are going to talk today with Radhakrishna ji how that is going to work.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So let's start with first bowing down to Shiva. And I remember this when I used to learn Bharatnatyam back in India. We used to always first have a pranam for Shivji and then start our practice. So, about like saying a few verses of Shiva Tandava Stotra today. Radhakrishna ji, do you want to tell about who has composed the Shiva's Tandava Stotra?
Yeah, this hymn, Stotra means hymn. And interestingly, this was composed by none other than Ravana. So Ravana is not evil, means not all evil. There
Yeah,
is goodness in him. And he was a ardent Shiva Bhakta.
yeah.
And he wanted to have a darshan of Lord Shiva at Kailasa. And he
Mhm.
walked. At each step, he sang this hymn.
Yeah,
It's a very beautiful hymn,
yeah.
very the vigorous, and indeed
Yeah.
you will enjoy it. Can I request Mahesh ji to sing a few lines from the song?
Sure. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. जटाटवीगलज्ज्वलप्रवाह पावितस्थले गले व्यलम्बलम्बिताम्बुजङ्गतुङ्गमालिकां डमड्डमड्डमड्डमन्निनादव डमर्वयं चकार चण्डताण्डवं तनोतु नः शिव शिवं तनोतु नः शिव शिवं जटाकटाः सम्भ्रम ब्रह्मनिलिम्प निर्जरि विलोल वीचि वल्लरी विराजमान मूर्धनि धगद 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 ज्वलल्ललाट पट्ट पावके किशोर चंद्रशेखरे रति प्रतिक्षणं मम रति प्रतिक्षणं मम.
Every time I listen to Shiva Tandava Stotra, I feel full of energy. I think it's just the words or its composition is like that because I am not that well versed in Sanskrit actually, but I still feel that flow of energy every time I listen to it.
Yes, indeed. Actually, the of course the Sanskrit is sweet
Mhm.
in the hymn, and the imagery is very bright. But to add to the cadence of the words
Yeah.
and their very sounds. bring the vigor and intensity of the Tandava vividly before us. It is as if we verily hear the damad, 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 damad sound of the Shiva's Damaru,
Yes.
and we witness Chakara Chanda Tandavam, the
Yeah.
Tandavam that was performed in all its vigor. And of
Okay.
course, the Lalata Patta Pavaka, the fire that burns, dhagad, 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 and Kishore Chandrasekhara, the crescent moon on the crown.
Yeah.
These all bring the Tandava bright and vigorously before us. So that's the beauty of this.
Yes. On.
And it is written in Anushtup Chanda. So there are two chandas are very good to hear. One of them is Shardul Vikredit and another is Anushtup Chanda. That are very pleasing to ears.
Awesome. So we'll talk a lot about this now. I want to tell the viewers that if you have any questions, please feel free to post it. We'll take everyone's question. We would not miss anyone. Just bear with us as we bring in your questions in the flow of the conversation. So to pick the question up, I wanted to also talk about Mr. Ananda here, and then we'll go towards Shiva Siddhantas. So, Radhakrishna ji, do you want to tell us about Shaiva Siddhantas?
Yeah, actually, Shaiva Siddhanta is all about the Shaivite school of philosophy, the
Mhm,
the philosophy that is aligned with Shaivism, Shiva.
mhm,
So uh, the symbolism,
mhm,
mm, the dance, the Tandava, every minute detail has profound symbolism. Okay,
mhm,
and Shaiva Siddhanta, uh, they explain the symbolism.
mhm.
And again, modern interpreters, they too have explained the symbolism in their own way.
Okay.
And uh, the fact is that Nataraja symbolism means Nataraja symbolized different things to different people in different time periods.
Mhm,
And all these various interpretations are profound and based on the cyclical creation and dissolution of the universe. That is the basis. Shiva's Tandava is creation, destruction.
And
And
in an
Ananda
infinite
Kumar,
cycle.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I wanted to say it's a creation and destruction in an infinite cycle or loop.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, indeed.
Mhm,
And Ananda Kumar Swami, he is an Indologist. Means he was an Indologist. He was born in 1877 and passed away in 1947.
mhm,
He, his father was a Sri Lankan Tamil. His
mhm,
mother was European. I think she was French. But he
mhm,
grew up in Britain, then later immigrated to the US. So he has very profound views on subjects related to India. So
mhm,
what he says that the essential significance of Shiva's dance is threefold. First, it is the image of his rhythmic play as the source of all movement within the cosmos. So his dance is the source of everything that moves, all movement within the universe.
mhm,
And secondly, the purpose of his dance is to release countless souls of men from the snare of illusion. Illusion is Maya.
mhm,
So the means what our Indian philosophy says, Advaita says, that we are Jivatma and the ultimate reality is the Paramatma, but these two are not different. They are one and the same. Because of Maya, we are under the illusion that we are individual self. That I am Radhakrishna, you are Shruti, and you are Mahesh. So these are all illusion. We are all one ultimate reality. So to obtain that realization is called mukti, moksha.
mhm.
So what he says is that the purpose of the second purpose of the Tandava is to give moksha to all of us,
Got
release from this illusion.
Mhm.
And the third, he says, that's very interesting. See, Chidambaram is a temple in Tamil Nadu. It is about 160 miles south of Chennai.
Mhm.
And that is where the Nataraja icon is there,
Mm.
the original Nataraja icon. So he says, Ananda Kumar Swami says that uh, oh, Chidambaram is the center of the world. It is just a, what you call it, is an upama or whatever you call it. It
Metaphor.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
But what he says is that Chidambaram is really in your heart. That is where it is. That is where Shiva is performing the Tandava.
Mhm. Yeah, makes sense. And Pandit Mahesh Shastriji, I want to bring you in here and ask you, is Shaiva Siddhanta the same as the Puranas, Shiva Puranas?
Actually, Shiva Siddhanta is basically central, where the Lord Shiva is the central, and it's all about Lord Shiva. You can think about uh, one of the book can be Shiva Purana. Let me tell you, but
Okay.
Shiva Siddhanta has got bunch of books. One of them is Agama. Siddhanta itself means the all the rules and principles about Lord Shiva.
Okay.
So the main thing, it's all about Lord Shiva in that, and in that supreme Brahman, what we call supreme Parabrahma, is Lord Shiva.
Okay.
But if you look at adhyatmic level, then there the all the differences vanishes. The differences between Lord Shiva, Krishna, Durga, Mata Rani, Radha Rani, Lakshmi ji, all are one. What we see is differently because our mind is like a prism, and if you look at the put the prism in front of sunlight, you will see different color rays coming out of it. So
Mm.
that's what he is talking about, the Advaita. But
Okay.
so there are two things the in Hinduism. One of them is Advaita, which is like a non-dualism. Another is Vishishta Advaita, which is more prominent in Ramanujacharya's followers,
Mhm.
part of the Vaishnava principle called qualified non-dualism. And then another is dualism, which is like in the Visist in Advaita, God is our soul is the God is the ultimate reality. You have to know who you are. Like you have an onion, right? You remove all the layers. What is inside? Nothing. That
Yeah.
is that is the soul. So you remove all the layers, Mo, Maya, Matsar, and you have realized your soul. That is Advaita. And in the Dvaita, there is a God who is different. Our soul has to worship him. So those are the two principles of the Hinduism, Dvaita and Advaita. So Shiva is all about Advaita, and you must have heard this famous bhajans, Stotra, Shivoham, Shivoham, Satchidanandoham. So
Yeah.
that is Shivo Aham. Aham means me, not the ego. Aham means me. I am the Shiva. My soul is Shiva. And then you slowly forget who you are. I am not mind. I am not body. I am Shiva. Your soul is Shiva. You realize your soul itself is Shiva. So, in a way, I am Shiva. You are Shiva. Radha Krishna ji is also Shiva. And for that matter, your pixel is also Shiva.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a bit about. So
Let
we
me
talked.
add something here. When I talk about pixel, it is not the phone. Okay.
Oh
Not the picture on the screen. She has a dog. Her name is Pixel. So let me correct it.
yeah. Yeah, I forgot to actually tell the viewers that Pixel is my dog, and he's saying that
Oh,
when
okay.
we say that everything is one, it has no difference between either humans or animals or anyone for that matter.
Yes.
Okay, so coming to the traditional, dances that we discussed, let's draw the parallels of dance of Nataraja with what we are about to discuss in physics right now. So I wanted to ask Radhakrishna ji, so what is this picture that we are seeing on the right?
Okay. The right side is Milky Way. Okay. So it's a galaxy. It is the macrocosm. And bottom, what you see is the microcosm, the particles within the nucleus. So one is macrocosm, one is microcosm.
Okay. And
And
mhm.
I just want to say that, see, this, what we aim here is to focus on the metaphor of the dance of Nataraja. Means our emphasis on the word metaphor. Of course, scientists do not use Shiva's dance to postulate theories or derive the mathematical underpinnings, but they use the metaphor for the functioning of the universe at the macrocosmic level and at the subatomic particles at the level of the microcosm. And they say that each small particle has its own dance and song, and so does the macrocosmic galaxies.
Interesting. That's very interesting. I would have never thought of art and physics being so intertwined or having like parallel values or metaphors there. So let's talk a bit more about that. I wanted to ask you about CERN as well. So we talked a little bit about it that it's a physics lab, very well-known physics lab, and
Yeah.
it's based in Switzerland. And what are we seeing here when with the Nataraja's statue?
Oh, sure. This is the Nataraja that government of India gifted to CERN. It's a 2 meter beautiful icon of Nataraja, and the picture shows Ambassador K.M. Chandrasekhar signing the visitors book at the unveiling of Nataraja at CERN. And
Mhm,
looking on is the director of CERN at that time.
mhm.
There's a there's an interesting coincidence. The ambassador's name is Chandrasekhar. Chandrasekhar means what? One who has the crown, means one who has the crescent moon at the crown. So this is a good coincidence. And in the beginning of our session, Mahesh ji sang the Shiva Tandava Stotra. See, Mahesh means Shiva. Mahesh, Maheshwara, Mahadeva, all are Shiva. So everything is Shivamayam. Shivamayam means full of Shiva.
Yeah, and there's also an interesting point that famous physicist Capra has put forth. Do you want to also talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. And Fritjof Capra is a famous physicist. Actually, I read his. He has a widely read book called Tao of Physics. He has many other books. I read it as a young man 50 years ago. So I was a young man 50 years ago, but I don't remember now all what I read, and
Yeah.
I didn't have much time then to go through the whole book. But so he is the famous author of Tao of Physics, and he says in choosing the image of Shiva Nataraja, the Indian government acknowledged the profound significance of the metaphor of Shiva's dance for the cosmic dance of subatomic particles. It's a cosmic dance. The subatomic particles are performing a cosmic dance. Yes. And
Yeah.
he has said, yeah, go ahead.
Mhm. Sorry, I was about to say that I also wanted to ask a bit about that. So, when we say subatomic particles are having a dance, let's break this down a little bit for our viewers as well. So, what particles are we talking about? At subatomic level in school, I have learned that atom is made of, protons, electrons, and neutrons. So, is that what we are talking about?
Oh, there is more to it, actually. See, first, the scientists saw the protons, neutrons, and electrons. Oh, interesting. Still more interesting is that first they thought that matter is made up of indivisible atoms. And the first particle scientist I know of is Kanada.
Mhm.
Kanada of ancient India. He lived about 2,600 years ago. Yeah, here is Kanada. He lived about 2,600 years ago.
Mhm.
And why is he called Kanada? He called the final indivisible uh, particle as Kana. And so Kanada is his nickname, teacher of atoms. Okay,
Yeah.
his real name, again, forgot. I forgot to look up his what he was called. Uh,
Mhm. Well,
and
he's known by his discovery, so we can call him Kanada.
yeah, yes, sure. And what he called the Kana was Paramanu.
Mhm.
Paramanu again means the final Anu, which cannot be split any further.
Okay.
So after that, there was this modern physicists that
Mhm.
came up with the theory of atoms.
Mhm.
Then they could break the atom and find neutrons, protons, and electrons.
Mhm.
They still went ahead and found so many particles, quarks, positrons, neutrinos, and whatnot. So many are there. So,
Int-
so many particles. And again, they found that particles can exist as particles and as waves
Mhm.
and other findings.
Okay. So when we say that particles can exist in waves, are we saying that they move in a particular fashion which looks like very wavy and like a.
No, not exactly. That's not what they mean by a wave.
Mhm.
Again, it's again a quantum physical concept. So they can exist this state here, and it's all probability. It's a probability distribution of existence.
Okay.
And in quantum physics, a particle can simultaneously exist in two places. Probability of existing here is x. Probability of existing here is y.
Okay.
So it's a bit it's not very intuitive. It's not very easy to understand, but
Right.
it's all based on their mathematics, their probabilistic math.
Got it. Yeah. So we are saying that at a subatomic level, we just don't have protons, neutrons, electrons. We also have more
Yes,
particles that
yes,
exist. And
yes,
we'll talk a little bit about that as well in a bit. But before that, I want to come back to Capra, which you said
yes,
that he has drawn parallels between Shiva's
yes,
dance and
yes, yes,
quantum physics. My first
yes.
question here is what exactly do we mean by quantum physics? Because I know physics, but I've not studied quantum
Okay,
physics.
okay. Actually, the previous thought, the conventional physics, was that everything is continuous. The field is continuous. The space is continuous. The field means field of force or whatever is continuous.
Mhm.
Everything is continuous.
Mhm.
Then they found that not everything is continuous. They exist in discrete quanta.
Mhm.
So, for example, when you see the picture of the electron moving around the nucleus, you have several orbits: first orbit, second orbit, third orbit. Now
Mhm.
the electron cannot exist in between. So that's a quanta. Again, it is due to the quantum nature of the universe of matter.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
quantum physics says that field is quantum, particle is quantum,
Mhm.
everything is quantum.
Mhm.
They exist in discrete states.
Mhm. And one question here, then, to further break this down, if I give an example, let's say I'm drawing a single line, that is how
Yeah.
we thought earlier that things move like at subatomic level, particles move like that. But if
Yes.
we actually see very closely, they are actually broken down in pieces, bits and pieces,
Exactly.
and that is how they are.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Oh.
You have hit the nail. Yes. It is.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that I have the parallel
Yeah.
example of
Yes.
understanding. Okay,
Yes. See,
makes
a
sense.
line is continuous with infinite
Mhm.
points, but the quantum, if you use an eraser and just
Yeah.
do break it, that
Mhm.
is quanta.
Okay, so that is what
Quantum is
quantum
a
is.
singular and quanta is plural.
Plural. Okay, got it.
So everything is a quantum field, right? Pretty
Mhm.
Yeah,
much. So the
that is a
particles
quantum
are
theory.
part of it. Particles are part of it, right?
Yes,
Within the
yes,
field. So
yes.
yeah. So that's what the Shruti and for our viewers, like even we are also bosons,
Yes,
right?
yes. We
We
have
are also
bosons,
part.
quarks.
Yeah, we are particles.
Yeah, we are
Yes,
all made up of particles. Okay.
yes.
And how did Capra then have this parallels between Shiva's dance and what we just discussed in quantum physics?
See, what he did is he observed that the dance of atoms and molecules within the cellular structure
Mhm.
mirrored the dance of Nataraja, the continuous creation and destruction of matter and
Mhm.
energy in the universe, echo the rhythm of Shiva's dance. making the Nataraja statue a symbol of scientific principle as well.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
This
It's a
is
symbol of
very
scientific principle.
yeah, this is very, very interesting. Let me tell you this. So when I was learning Bharatnatyam, right, I could see that all the Bharatnatyam, as Pandit Mahesh Shastriji explained earlier, it is the dance composed by Shiva. And how I used to think about Bharatnatyam and other dances that I have seen is in Bharatnatyam, I used to move in a very wavy pattern as compared to, like strict, uh,
Yeah.
like there was no, like there is extreme symmetry, but there is still a way in which I would move in all angles, in all directions. It wasn't like restricted to any specific direction or movement in terms of being very in a straight line or something. It was very wavy. So now I can see like how the parallels between that and what you're calling the dance of subatomic levels is
Yes.
making sense here. Interesting. Okay, so there is one
And there
interesting.
is another scientist called Dr. James Cook. He is also have done pretty much research, and he has drawn the parallels with the Lord Shiva's dance, the cosmic dance, and what Mr. Radhakrishna is talking about.
Got it.
So
So
the quantum physics.
we have an interesting question from the audience. Let me bring this up. Vasanta Palani, they are saying some people refer to neutron as Brahma, electron as Vishnu, and okay, I think it got repeated. But Brahma as proton, is that true? Mhm.
These are all just metaphors. So we can say like that if you want. It's just a metaphor.
Right. Okay. All right. So moving on to the next topic, let's also talk about another famous scientist called as Carl Sagan. Radhakrishna ji, do you want to tell us who he is?
Yeah, he is an astronomer, or rather an astrophysicist,
Mhm,
and he was fascinated by our Indian philosophy.
mhm,
Uh, he he has an interesting observation. See, he says the Hindu religion is one of the world's great faiths dedicated to the idea that the cosmos itself undergoes an immense number of deaths and rebirths. The same. So what he says, he equates Shiva's dance to the immense number of deaths and rebirths of the universe, because
mhm,
universe, according to him, is uh, created, distracted. That cycle is there in the universe. No, not just the universe, even in, say, galaxies. They get, first they get formed, they are created, then they finally they undergo dissolution. Then again from that matter spring other galaxies and other
yeah,
heavenly bodies.
makes sense. And it seems like Mr. Carl Sagan also visited India and a specific Chola temple. Do you want to tell us about that?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. So he visited a Chola temple, and he saw the Nataraja Murti. Murti means icon. So he saw the icon of Nataraja, and so what he said is that the icon of Nataraja represented the beginning of each cosmic cycle.
Mhm,
And about the motif of the cosmic dance of Shiva, he said the god has four hands.
mhm,
In the upper right hand is the drum, damaru, whose sound is the sound of creation. The damat sound is the sound of creation. And
mhm,
in the upper left hand, there is a tongue of flame. You can see in some Nataraja Murtis, you can see the flame. They have represented the flame.
mhm.
So
Does this have it this
a
way? Yeah.
reminder, a
This is.
reminder that the universe now newly created will billions of years from now will be utterly destroyed. So the flame destroys, and then again creation happens.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I wanted to bring up the Nataraja Murti when you were explaining the flame because I saw it in the first picture.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yes.
Okay. We talked a little bit about Canada as well, and we were at a discussion of subatomic. He found that atom is the smallest one, and
Yes,
then we were talking about how later on we found that there are lots of
yes,
things inside an atom. So
yes,
let's talk a bit about that. Other than
yes,
electrons, protons, you did tell me a few other particles that also
yes,
exist. But let's talk about God particle and what is so interesting about this particle.
yes, yes, yes. See, actually, the standard model of the uh, elementary particles, the fundamental particles, they have quarks, they have leptons, they have, see here, the picture shows the standard model.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly, one small thing, it's not there in there. See, uh, even if you go down, like proton and neutron
Mm-hmm.
are made of quarks, and quarks have qualities like top quark, bottom quark,
Mm-hmm.
then charmed quark. I don't know how they get charmed. And some of
Yeah.
these particles have color. They say colored, and of course they have spin, anti-spin, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And while the in the 1960s, a scientist called Higgs
Mm-hmm.
uh, postulated that there is a particle that gives mass to all these other particles, because without mass, matter cannot exist. Matter must have mass, and they didn't know how mass came about.
Mm-hmm.
So this was just a postulate till 2012 in at CERN, in the Large Hadron Collider. See, Hadron Collider means that it makes particles collide.
Correct.
It accelerates particles with high energy, and when they collide, things happen. So,
Mhm.
in one such experiment, they observed this Higgs boson,
Yeah.
and they called it the God particle, just because it is the one that gives mass to particles and makes them exist. Without
Correct.
mass, they cannot exist. So it is God's, it's Higgs
Right.
boson. And again, boson, the name is interesting. The name is from an Indian scientist, Satyendra Bose.
Oh.
Satyendra Bose was a famous scientist.
Yeah.
He worked with Einstein, and
Mhm.
he wrote many papers with Einstein, many important papers. So that's why his name is given to the particle.
Got it. So Higgs boson is actually the person who helped him there, and he named it
Yeah,
after him as boson. And we are calling it God
yeah.
particle just to reiterate because that is the particle that actually gives it mass.
Mass.
Otherwise, it
Yes,
wouldn't exist.
Actually, this is very important thing. Even in Veda, we say the whole world is illusion, right? The Adi Shankara writes in Vivek Chudamani that the whole world is an illusion, and that's what the Higgs particle is all about. So the whole illusion exists within the its own field, basically within its particular field, and
Mhm.
that goes like a wave, right?
Yeah.
So it basically local disturbance is the technical word is.
Yeah.
Mr. Radhakrishna can correct me if I am wrong. So it
no, no,
creates
it's good.
it's a basically local disturbance. So without that God particle, we wouldn't know how things has happened. So if it interacts with the thing with the mass, it will give them the more mass. But if it's something that interacts with the something that doesn't have a mass like protons and all, it will not do anything. With a less mass, it will have a that
Yeah.
much effect. So that's why it's called a God particle. Without that, things will not exist.
Exists.
And to how they found out is because anything that has got a more mass, their life is very shorter. Their
Mhm.
life is very shorter, like So that's why doctor asked us to reduce the weight, right? To live healthy, to reduce the mass also. So
Yeah.
the jokes apart. So it is very, and then the in the large hadron collider, they will only notice if it is something moving, basically.
Mhm. Okay.
So it is moving. So the way they found out, I just saw it, like, because and then when the things move, that the Higgs particle is found, it will not change. It is not going to move, it is going to be there only. So how they discover is, it quickly changes it into the I think photon, and that the combined energy, what when they discover the photon, will be the same of the mass of the Higgs particle.
Oh, I
So
see.
am I right, Radha
Yeah,
Krishna ji?
yeah, yeah. Because the Higgs particle, they means boson, gives mass to other particles.
Hmm. Yeah. And here I also wanted to break down what probabilistic universe would mean. First,
Oh
in
yes.
terms of physics, and I think then we will
Mhm.
move on also to a
Yes,
concept which is parallel in a spiritual way. Okay.
yes. It's
So,
a, it's
yeah.
okay. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say same thing.
Yeah.
Radhakrishna ji, can you tell us more about
It-
probabilistic universe?
it's a very interesting thing, because quantum physics views the world as a probabilistic world. Means that the particle can exist here, the probability is x, exist here, probability is y, exist here, probability is z. So it's all a probability. Means you cannot. It's not a deterministic world.
Mhm.
Whereas Newton's physics is deterministic. It is here. This point. It is here. X.
Mhm.
This is
So,
not deterministic.
so this
It
is
can be here. It
all
can.
like entropy.
Yeah, it is means probabilistic. Means everything is the existence of everything has associated probabilities
Associated
for
properties.
different states. It can exist in this state. The probability is this. For example, the electron moving around the nucleus,
Mhm.
it exists. The probability is x for this orbit. For the other orbit, the probability is y. Means so, sometimes it looks paradoxical. Means it can exist in simultaneously. It can exist in two states.
Yeah.
So that is, and then Einstein didn't like this idea. He said
Okay.
God does not play dice. Playing dice means, again, it's a
Chance.
probabilistic thing.
Yeah, it's a chance.
But
Okay.
God did play the dice.
God did play the dice, yes.
Because without the Higgs particle, nothing can come into existence. Because the whole universe, that has got, even in the quantum field, there are, like, if even if you look at the like atom, you cannot see in the electronic microscope. No, there is no microscope has been designed. But if you look at it, even between the nucleus and the electrons, like around the, like, that is infinite space, so like it depict the space what we have.
Yes. So this might be coming from my science fiction childhood, Radhakrishna ji. But I used to always think that, there will be a time machine someday and I could travel back and forth. And this probabilistic universe where I could be anywhere feels like a concept of parallel universe where I can travel in between those universes and just be anywhere.
Yes. Actually, some modern physicists have similar concepts about time, about existence, as if time doesn't exist. Everything is there simultaneously. We just move from one to the other. Means like
Right.
that. Such concepts means which are not intuitive to us, or even very difficult for us to imagine, like
Yeah.
a multi-dimensional world, not the three dimension, n dimensional world, where n can be a large integer.
Mhm.
How do we imagine that?
No, it's impossible to imagine that.
Yes.
I can only think about 3D.
Yeah.
That is too
3D.
much. Okay. Pandit Mahesh Shastriji, I do want to ask a similar parallel spiritual concept that I have heard about, which is also a multi-universe concept where we say that this is not the only world. There are multiple worlds that exist. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, so all of you know, guys know Gayatri Mantra, right? Om Bhurбhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. I'm saying without swara because when we talk, you do not have to. So Om Bhuhu, Om Bhuvaha, Om Suvaha, and then when you do the breathing in pranayam, Om Mahaha, Om Tapaha, Om Janaha, Om Satyam. So we talk about seven lokas there. So each loka, what we have, so it can, and so those are called, you can think about the multiverse also. If you look into Devi Bhagavatam, so there is a concept of multiverse where each universe has its own Brahma, its own Vishnu, its own Shiva.
Mhm.
And then there was a one demon, I forgot the name. So to kill to that demon, so the goddess Bala Tripura Sundari needed to like help from the all the parallel universe. So they did big homa and gave energy to goddess Tripura Sundari, all the parallel universe, all everybody came along, So we, and see, the problem is in the parallel universe is beyond our things to understand. See, the 1D space is like going like this. Okay, you're going like this. If you 2D space, you are going up here and here. When you add a 90-degree, it becomes 2D. When you add another 90-degree, it's 3D. Now, to even 3D in to see in the 2D paper, it's difficult. So we show it like, one different color to show that cube, right? But
Mhm.
to show the 4D, like, like a fifth dimension, which to draw another 90-degree parallel, where would you do it? People try to draw it, but this is beyond our human imagination to visualize. And for, see, we have been brought up by saying A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, D for dog, So we need some kind of visualization. So
Mhm.
at every step, our mind needs visualization. Suppose if I have to tell you, we have to go to some XYZ store, and you will say, okay, that XYZ store, what's the location? I mean, any landmark, once I give you landmark, then you will get the clear picture. Oh, I have been there. So you need the visualization. The thing is, our mind is trained to do visualization in 3D space.
Mhm.
Anything above that, multiverse and all, it's like very difficult for us to understand.
Right.
Who knows? It might be, you might have to go through the event horizon, to land into the another gateway. Event horizons are pretty much another gateway to the world. We really do not know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, so moving on, I want to bring back the discussions about CERN and what exactly is Higgs boson. So I think Radhakrishna ji, you explained a bit, but also can you explain the picture on the right?
Yeah, sure. This is the Large Hadron Collider.
Hmm.
Collider is that which makes particles collide. And this is very long, quite long. And they have to move a large distance. And they we are giving energy in terms of electron volts.
Hmm.
That's the unit we use for energy of particles.
Hmm.
And we provide them, we accelerate them.
Hmm.
And the energy we give is like tera electron volts. Tera is theta. After mega, then goes to tera. It's a 10 raised to, how much is that? 12.
12. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tera. So it's a very huge energy you give, and the particles travel quite a long distance, and then they collide. And when they collide, things happen.
Mhm.
They change, and they release energy in different ways. So there are detectors, and the detectors detect what sort of energy they have released. From
Mhm.
that, they can find out what exactly happened. Did any new particle evolve from
Mhm.
this collision?
Mhm.
They can analyze the what do you call, the whatever happened in the
Structure.
collision.
Mhm.
So those are called detectors. So those detectors are there, and it is in one such experiment that the God's
Particle.
particle,
Yeah.
Higgs boson, was found.
Yeah. Okay. And then we also want to talk about the LHC project and what it exactly means.
Yeah. LHC is again large hadron collider.
Hmm.
It is to understand the fundamental structure of matter
Hmm.
by recreating the extreme conditions that occurred in the first few moments of the universe.
Hmm.
This is according to the Big Bang theory. At the Big Bang theory, what happened? So again, so many theories are there. Big Bang is not the only theory. Okay, so I'm just saying this in
Is
advance.
hadrons are the protons? Hadrons means
Yeah.
okay.
So what it does, it is the large hadron means it is quite large.
Hmm.
It has to travel a long distance. The particle has to travel a long distance. So there are large hadron colliders. There are smaller ones, and when they make the particles collide,
Hmm.
they are trying to recreate the extreme conditions that occurred in the Big Bang.
Okay.
So so Higgs boson was never observed before. It could be produced only by collisions in an energy range not available for experiments before the LHC. So
Okay.
LHC is the instrument they use for this nuclear research,
Got it.
and to validate hypothesis. Say somebody says this hypothesis. Say for example, they hypothesized that Higgs boson existed. Okay, that was a hypothesis till they experimentally validated that hypothesis
Mhm.
using the LHC,
Got it.
the Large Hadron Collider.
Got it. And
And
what exactly standard model here of quantum physics?
oh, again, see, there are several models. Several, I mean, in quantum physics, disagreement is more than agreement. We can say
Okay.
many different theories, but
Mhm.
finally, it's a sort of standard. We can say some more people agree
Mhm.
to this standard model. The See, any model has to explain observed results. See, when they do all these experiments with
Mhm.
large hadron collider or with any other instrument,
Mhm.
the results will have to be eh, explained by a model. So far, no single model can explain all the observed experimental results. Okay,
Mm.
so one that explains fairly a good number of results is the standard model,
Okay.
and the standard model also has many particles, as we had seen in a previous uh, uh, slide. And
Mhm.
one interesting thing, actually, particles, again, as I said, we have quarks, leptons, neutrinos, positrons, antimatter, matter, so many things. Just a small example I'm saying. In
Mhm.
the nucleus, we have, say, neutron and proton. Both these are made of quarks.
Mhm.
Top quarks and bottom quarks. Don't ask me what that really means. It could be some mathematical entity. They,
Right.
they just call. Again, they have charmed quark. Again, as
Mm.
I said,
Up
colored
and
quarks.
down
Say
and up and down.
up
Usually
and down.
for the
So
proton, up and down.
this up and down, they can convert
Mhm.
the neutron into proton or vice versa
Mhm.
by changing the quarks, whether it is up or down.
Mhm.
So just an example means, but again, the nature of the fundamental particles.
Mhm. Got it. Okay. So,
And again, one more thing. As I said, there are so many theories.
mhm.
Again, theories of symmetry and supersymmetry. So this LHC, the Large Hadron Collider,
Mhm.
is also used to examine the asymmetries between particles and their antiparticles, and that can provide a clue to another mystery. There's a mystery. Actually, there are more particles than antiparticles. So why is this asymmetry?
Mhm.
So that's also being examined by this LHC.
Got it.
And to tell you the one more add to thing, the Big Bang theory was originally, the name was given by the one of the critics of the Big Bang theory to say that it is a false, but unfortunately it became true for him, and the name became very famous.
Interesting. So I also wanted to discuss here what is the theory of nothingness and what is the theory of everything. There are like two theories in physics.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. Theory of nothingness. See, that nothingness means first of all theory of everything. Let's say theory of everything. If the right now we don't have a theory that explains everything, especially a theory that explains the microcosm and the macrocosm simultaneously.
mhm,
For example, this quantum mechanics explains the microcosm, okay, within the atomic space, but that cannot explain the things that go on at the macrocosmic
Space level, which is
level.
at the space level, right? Which is at the space
Yeah,
level.
which is at
Yes.
the space level. So there our Einstein's space time continuum, speed of light, and all those things come in.
mhm,
So the effort of the scientists is to find a unified theory. That theory doesn't exist now. That's
mhm.
called the theory of everything. Means it will explain everything.
So how does the
And
string theory comes into the picture in
oh,
theory of everything?
string theory is one of these theories. Say, for example, string theory says that Big Bang is not the beginning of the universe.
Okay.
Okay,
Mhm,
the universe existed before the Big Bang. So actually, this string theory gives more. Means is more aligned with with our cyclical creation, destruction, creation, destruction uh, uh,
you-
process.
mhm,
Whereas Big Bang theory says only one. It started at one point. Before that, nothing was there.
mhm,
Not even time, no dimension,
mhm.
and not even nothingness. Yeah, that is the beauty of it. Even shunya. See, Sanskrit for nothingness is
True.
shunya. Even
Mhm.
shunya did not exist.
Okay.
Nothingness did not exist. I think in our Vedanta they say something about on similar lines that God is even beyond shunya. See,
Okay.
God is nirvikal, means doesn't have any qualities as per Vedanta,
Yeah.
beyond qualities, beyond space and time, desha kala.
Mhm.
What is that? What is the third one?
It's all.
Nimitta, desha kala nimitta.
Okay.
Desha means space,
Mhm.
kala means time, nimitta means cause and effect. So
Okay.
God is beyond desha kala nimitta, beyond so and beyond everything, beyond our, and also beyond nothingness.
Yeah. Very interesting. So here I do have a question for you, Radhakrishna ji. So when we say that you earlier said Big Bang means that like things are there was like a big bang and then from there the universe started
Yes,
expanding.
yes.
But I've also heard a version where Big Bang also says that it will eventually contract and go back to nothingness.
Yes, sure. Yes, that is another that Big Bang theory,
Okay.
because it expands first, and
Mhm.
then the gravitational force increases.
Mhm.
Then they slowly come together. They contract and become too dense, and then finally explode, and then
Got it. Okay. And to recircle on, like, we talked about recreation, like rebirth and destruction, and that infinite cycle of having that. I think that concept seems consistent in all the theories that we talked about so far, at
yes,
least in a version of every theory that we talked
yes,
about.
yes.
And another thing I wanted to ask you was, earlier we discussed the dance of subatomic levels, which coincide with Shiva's, Tandav
Yes,
motion
yes.
dance. So in that case, do all these theories still agree on the subatomic level dance?
Yes, they see that's the metaphor they use. Dance,
Mhm.
dance means different things. Dance means they have frequencies, they
Right.
have vibrations. So that's what they call the dance. And the music is the energy emitted by the particles. That's what they call music. So again, it's all a metaphor,
Mhm.
and ultimately this may be some elements in the mathematical equation finally.
Yeah, that makes sense. I wanted
Yes.
to find like consistencies in the theories where there are like disagreements. Okay, that makes sense. So moving on, I also wanted to discuss about what like the we talked about um, n dimensions
Yeah.
to things, and we talked about the fact that how it's very hard to imagine beyond like three-dimensional
Yes.
things. So what are these other dimensionals, if you want to explain that?
Oh, that's again what best I can say is that it is in the mathematics of the physicists, their equations.
Okay.
Beyond that, we cannot imagine.
Mhm.
That's the thing. See, one thing, one as example, this string theory
Mhm.
needs multi-dimensional world, means more than three dimensions,
Mhm.
and all their mathematical equations postulate many dimensions.
Mhm.
And then I said about the difficulty of explaining the microcosm and the macrocosm with a single theory.
Content.
Again, people are attempting. So gravitation is in the macrocosm, that cannot be explained by uh,
Micro.
quantum mechanics.
Right.
And there is a new research is being done for quantum gravitation in quantum, and they
Okay.
are trying to explain the macrocosm and the microcosm. So far, not, they haven't proved anything, but they are trying to do that.
Got it. Okay. Okay. No worries. So while there is no agreement, and we talked about, I think, the theory of everything, I wanted to ask about like the cyclic creation and dissolution to Pandit Mahesh Shastriji as well. So we talk about this and we say that Shiva is the one who is creating and like causing that continuous infinite cycle of creation and destruction, creation and destruction. Maheshji, what about the things that have been like taught as a child, where I said like Brahma is the creator, and Vishnu is the sustainer, and Shiva is the destructor of the evil, or um, uh, destructor in general. So, how does it make sense that Shiva is now also participating in creation here?
So, like I said before, in a parallel universe concept, right? So each universe has their own Brahma, they have their own Vishnu, they have own their Shiva. That is at Adi Bhautik level, right?
Yeah.
Then at Adi Devik level, they do the creation. But ultimately, when you remove the all the like parallel universe and everything, so they are basically nothing but a Brahma,
Yeah.
Parabrahma spreading everywhere.
Mhm.
And in Purusha Sukta, we say Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapad. So that Parabrahma has 1,000 heads. Do you think they will have 1,000 heads? I mean, it is just a metaphor they have used. It
Yeah.
is means there can be that Purusha, that Parabrahma has is as smart as 1,000. They just pick the 1,000 number as just to show. But there is another verses also comes. Namo Svanantai Sahasramurtai Sahasrapadakshirubahave. So that also they use Sahasra in that. So that is just used as a symbol.
Mm.
Means it can also mean thousand, not just take the one number. So
Yeah.
that Parabrahma has so much is a full of consciousness, and it has got many thoughts, different brains, okay, so different things.
Mhm.
So each universe has its own this thing, but at adhyatmic level, all the difference is, vanishes. They
Mhm.
just Parabrahma, Lord Shiva as the Parabrahma. If you are Vaishnavites, you can think Lord Vishnu as a Parabrahma, because there is no difference between Hari and Hara. Hari Hariyo Bedam Nasti, Lord Hemadri says. So
Okay.
when you do, when Lord Shiva does, and by the way, Shiva and Shakti cannot be separated. Like, Shiva and Shakti are one,
One.
you know. So, and see, the what we see is gender of male and female. It's just the vessel that we are carrying,
Correct.
because you have a your soul and my soul and Radhakrishna's soul don't have any gender. So the gender belongs to the, because we got animal body.
Physical
If
world.
we got like one dimensional creatures called amoeba, their body, then we would not have any sort of vessel or gender. We would have a vessel but wouldn't have a gender. So that gender is because the how they decided to have a procreation, like
Mhm.
procreate,
Correct.
spread the on its own.
Yes.
Okay, so that way, Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, they are all one. So the thing is, and even if you take on a lighter note, on another note, let's say, without if you want to reconstruct something, you have to, like, you must have seen lot of videos on YouTube, fixer upper,
Mm-hmm.
right? What is the fixer upper concept? To fix, you need to destroy something and then you can rebuild. You cannot, otherwise it's a cosmetic change, but
Yeah.
to create something new, you have to destroy it. So
Correct.
Lord Shiva destroy, and then you must have seen dagad jwala lalata
Yes.
patta pavake kishore chandra shekhare rati pratikshanam mama. So he destroys the universe, and that is uh, from his third eye is like, lalata patta pavake, so he is having this, that fire comes, that, and that's what it also says, that to create energy for that god particle, so that is the one, basically provide the mass to everything to collide and then to recreate. So the dance of the particles, it at the here, till our scientists find out it's really at microcosm level and it really at macrocosm level. But
Level.
that at macrocosm level, it happens in a very big scale. But ultimately, everything is particle. You are particle, and we are part of that. Basically, quantum field. Basically, we are part of the Higgs boson field. Basically, you, me, and everybody, we are like a wave in that overall picture. So when then the and see, and that is also makes sense, because when we die, that form, like our body goes away, right?
Mhm.
And Adi Shankaracharya says we go into the deep sleep. So there may not be wave, suddenly something happens, and then the new wave comes up
Right.
within that. So it's really interesting thing.
Yeah. And Radhakrishna ji, I want to ask you. So we have seen how Kanada at a point thought that atom is the smallest,
Yes.
particle that we can have, but later on we found a lot more than that.
Yes.
And there's always a room on the top. We are always learning new things and having new discoveries. So where do we stand in terms of understanding why the subatomic particles have that, so as to say, like dance or their movement in that pattern? Do we know yet?
No, the why of the universe is what we don't know. We know how. What
Yeah.
means, again, we don't know fully how. We know what they do.
Mhm.
We have seen what they do. Okay. But
Yeah.
why they do? Why does the universe obey laws? Why
Mhm.
does it exist? Okay. That why is not known. Again, another thing is, who is the experiencer of the universe? Who is this self? Who is this sentient self who observes the universe? You can say all atoms, this and that, everything, but who is this? I don't know.
Right now, physics doesn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Moving on, I
I
do
want
want
to add something to that. And
Mhm.
there are some research has been going on, like to have that, like, that, see, with that, this Big Bang, and then that the particles collision. See, some people, I've read somewhere article that that's how that the new things comes into the place, and that's what we are, like, came into existence this way, and then the consciousness needs to be connected to that. Once you connect the consciousness, then you will know who is the silent spectator, like the who is going to witness all those things. So
Makes sense. Okay. I know that we discussed a lot about physics. I do want to still bring up more noteworthy scientists who were in alignment with what we have been discussing so far. So, Radhakrishna ji, do you want to talk about Mr. Zimmer here?
Yes, sure. He was a German Indologist,
Mhm.
Robert Zimmer. So what he said about Nataraja, his it is poetry. So
Yeah.
his gestures wild and full of grace precipitate the cosmic illusion. His flying arms and legs and the swaying of his torso produce indeed that they are the continuous creation destruction of the universe. Death exactly balancing birth, annihilation the end of every coming forth.
Mhm.
So that's then Ian Crawford. He's a professor of planetary science at the University of London. It's a famous university where they do all this research. He says the cosmic dance of Shiva as Nataraja represents particle physics, entropy, and the dissolution of the universe.
Yeah.
Then another scientist, he's a young scientist, Aidan Randall Kahn. He's a particle physicist who used to work at CERN.
Mhm.
He says the dancing Shiva represents the changes in the universe around us as matter and energy constantly bump into each other, create and destroy systems, and keep renewing the world. See, this is interesting. Even at the subatomic level, constantly there is an interchange between matter and energy. Energy becomes matter, matter becomes energy, and even say in the large hadron collider,
Yeah.
they collide, particle collides. Some
Mhm.
part becomes energy, some can become a different particle. So this dance goes on,
Mhm.
the dance of changing between energy and particle.
Mhm.
So that's what he says. And there are other people also, other scientists who did not exactly say about Nataraja, but in general about Vedanta and Hindu philosophy, like Schrodinger. All of you must have heard of Schrodinger's
Schrodinger cat.
cat.
Yeah.
Okay,
For
so
those
Schrodinger,
who don't know, can you just tell about him, and then why that man is very important in today's discussion?
yes, yes, yes. Actually, Schrodinger is famous for his wave equation. See,
Mhm.
everything what I said earlier, particle can exist as particles and wave function. Wave function is a mathematical thing.
Mhm.
So he so Schrodinger is the scientist famous for the solution of the wave equation.
Mhm.
Okay, it's a very complicated equation and he solved it.
Mhm.
So what he says, he was fascinated by the Upanishads and Adi Shankara's Advaita and all that.
Mhm.
So when speaking of the universe in which particles are represented by wave function, he said the unity and continuity of Vedanta are reflected in the unity and continuity of wave mechanics. Means waves and particles. That's what he means. This is entirely consistent with the Vedanta concept of all in one. So by all in one, I think he's saying Tattvamasi, the Advaita of Advaita, non-duality.
Mhm.
So he is saying about that.
Got it.
What is that? Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Uh, I missed something. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Yeah. So
Tattvamasi means
and
thou, you are that
yeah, you
you
are
are
that.
that.
And then all of you might know Bohr's atom model. We have studied in 10th, and after 10th 2 years in my time, 50 years ago, it was called pre-degree. Now it is called +2. So we might have all studied the Bohr's atom model. So Bohr, and there is another person, Werner Heisenberg. Heisenberg also is a quantum physicist, and everyone knows about the uncertainty principle. Okay, so you cannot mean what he says, that in any experiment you cannot 100% say that it is so, because we as an observer change the state of the particle. That's very interesting. Just by observing it, we can change, we can cause change. So that is uncertainty. A certain amount of uncertainty exists in all physical experiments when we measure things.
Correct.
So Heisenberg, they were all what do you call, very much fascinated by our Vedanta, and in general in Indian philosophy, ancient Indian philosophy.
Right.
Okay, I forgot to say something. See, we have in quantum physics, there is an interesting thing called quantum entanglement. Okay,
Okay.
quantum entanglement is something so wonderful. See, there can be two particles, a couple of particles can be entangled somehow, and then there can be billions of light years away,
Okay.
and the change of state in one particle here has an effect on that other particle billions of years away instantly. See, we studied that nothing can travel at a speed more than that of light, but in this quantum entanglement, it is instantaneous. This particle changes state, its spin changes. Then billions of light years, that other particle changes its spin. How do they communicate? So this
Wow.
is an
Yeah.
enigma. This quantum entanglement is an enigma, but it is there. They have proven that. Okay, this just aside, just a little.
Yeah, and we still don't know why, right? We know that it's happening, but we still don't know why.
Yeah,
And there's a
yeah.
lot of research going on. But this is very, very interesting, Radhakrishna ji. Do you want to also talk about the Chidambaram temple?
Oh, yeah. I'll show the Chidambaram temple. As I said, it is in Tamil Nadu. It is about 160 miles south of Tamil Nadu. This was constructed during the Chola time. Chola kings were very powerful, and they ruled a big part of the southern portion of India. Even they went to the north. One Chola went to the banks of the Ganges, means Ganga, and he's called Gangai Konda Cholan, means who captured the Ganga. Gangai Konda means Kolluga means to have, to include. It's a Tamil Malayalam word. So Gangai Konda Cholan is so okay. That's just a different matter. The Cholas constructed many beautiful temples, including the Brihadishwara temple. Chidambaram temple on the banks of Kaveri is also a Chola temple, and that is where the original Nataraja dances, the cosmic dance, takes place in Chidambaram. And that Chidambaram, our Ananda Kumaraswamy said, it is in our hearts.
Oh.
It is within our hearts. So this is the physical Chidambaram we see in the picture.
Yes.
And the actual Chidambaram is within our hearts.
Right.
And in that, I have just included a Malayalam Shiva Stuti. Mahadeva Manohara Mahamandradhipa Prabho Mahamaya Bhagavati Priya Ninne Turinne. This means, oh great Lord, oh handsome one, oh Lord of the great mantra, oh Lord, oh lover of goddess Mahamaya, my salutations to thee. Now, in this, only the last two words are Malayalam. Although I said it is Malayalam, the last two words are only Malayalam. The rest are all Sanskrit. So, Sanskrit is what unites all Indian languages. The uniting thread that goes through all Indian languages is Sanskrit.
Yeah.
Just aside, it's not strictly connected with our topic?
Yeah, of course. But I someday, Radhakrishna ji, I also want to sit down and talk about languages with you. I know that you're highly also interested in language and how they are structured,
Oh,
especially
thank you.
Sanskrit, and also about Aryabhatta, because I think that's the common
Yeah,
topic that you and I both like.
yeah,
So we
sure.
can do that. Awesome. Yes, thank you so much, Radhakrishna ji, because if you were not here today, we would not be able to see such subtle parallel concepts between art and science. I think it's a very beautiful combination of art, science, and spirituality, I will say. And I had no idea that CERN has this beautiful Nataraja Murti in their premises. And we have so many parallels in subatomic world and physics. So thank you so much for joining us today. And also Mahesh Shastriji for answering all our spiritual questions as usual. Um, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. And I think
Okay,
I don't.
Satyajit.
Mhm.
And Mahesh ji. Mahesh ji is my colleague at Meteorcom. So
Yeah.
we see, most days we see each other.
Awesome. I don't see any questions from the audience. Everyone is just saying thank you. So
Oh,
thanks a ton. And we'll circle back, but I'm ending this live stream now. We'll meet again next week. Please like, subscribe, and share our channel. And we'll see you in the next session.